You are called to be a neighbor, see a friend in all you meet. You are called to be a leader, to build community. You are called to be a prayer, living out the truth you seek. You are called to be everything. You are called to be. So as many of you know, because I tend to talk about it whenever I can, for the last 5 years, I have been immersed in spiritual consciousness studies. I started my spiritual journey deliberately at the Center for Spiritual Living Toronto when we were still in Toronto. And then as we moved here, set up shop here at CSL Victoria and started taking classes with Reverend Jennifer, Reverend Carrie, a lot of people who are sitting here in our community today. And then for the past 3 years have been very, very, very immersed in these advanced consciousness and spiritual studies through the Global Truth Center Los Angeles, out of Los Angeles, with Dr. James Mellon. And much to my delight, and I'm so excited to say that I just received my very first degree ever, a bachelor's degree in advanced consciousness studies.
Whoa.
Thank you. And so when I listen to those words, when I read those words of Faith Rivera, when I hear them sung by Elizabeth Adams and the way that she just sang them, I feel like I am stepping up with what I am called to be here, being part of this community, being immersed in these new thought, metaphysical, quantum physics, advanced consciousness and spiritual studies. It is a call on my heart. It is a call on my soul, and it is something that I can't not do. What's been super interesting, though, is for the past 3 years, as I've been immersed in the Global Truth Center Los Angeles community, I have been immersed in a community of Americans. And most of the time, I have been either the only one, or one of 2 people who is not American who has been in the class. And so it's been really, really interesting to be immersed in that culture, in that community, to sort of feel almost like an onlooker, or someone from the outside. And a lot of it for me has been because I've been online this whole time. I haven't been down south of the border to actually touch or hug or meet these people that I've been studying with and have become so close with in the last 3 years. It's been incredible, though, because they are so focused on their politics. They are so focused on the social injustice and unrest that is going on in their country. It's almost like it's the center of the world. And so it's been really, really interesting to be immersed in that, to be treating for their elections and by-elections, to be thinking about what does Trump really mean, and how is it sort of for the best and highest of all involved for him to have been in office. To see, what is it that racism is really all about? What is social injustice all about? Is there something called, is white privilege and white fragility? Are these actual real things, or are these ideas? And so to be sitting and to be immersed in that and to hear the conversations and be part of those conversations has felt kind of awkward and a little discombobulating for me, because a lot of the times I would feel like this is very American. This isn't what it's like in Canada. We have our own stuff that we are dealing with. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that requires a lot of our attention, a lot of accountability, clean drinking water on First Nations reserves, just dealing with, recognizing and making right the atrocity of residential schools, the different pipelines that have been championed but then have not, that are supposedly going to be running through unceded land. Climate change. There's so much that is going on in our own country, yet anytime I sort of think about how we navigate things here, it feels different than how things are navigated in the States. It feels like here that for everything that still requires our serious, mindful attention, that there's more listening, there's more understanding, there's more compassion, there's more being willing to listen to someone else's point of view. So So that all sort of was happening for the last 3 years, and I was kind of feeling like, hey, I'm Canadian, you know, I'm just kind of watching these Americans, my fellow students in these classes, you know, go through all this stuff that is so intense for them, but not really feeling like I was a part of it. Until now. Until the last few weeks, the last month of the unfoldment of COVID. And now that the vaccine passports are becoming a worldwide thing, now that they have been mandated in certain areas of the world and they're coming soon to us, now is when I feel like, you know what? Me as an individual, we as Canadians, we're in it, you know? And this is part of what I've been thinking about for the last few weeks since Reverend Carrie gave me the theme for this month, which was a bit longer than Happy Already. When I first asked her, you know, what is it that you would like the theme to be for the month, then she gave me a long sentence. Happiness is the way, how to reframe your thinking and work with what you already have to live the life of your dreams. Awesome. But I said, Carrie, what's the 3 to 5 word version that I can put on the slide? And so she came up with Happy Already. And when she came up with Happy Already, I thought, wow, really? With all this stuff that's going on right now? Like, I know that we as metaphysicians, we as religious scientists, we as people who believe that we create our reality, come together every Sunday, come together on Thursday and Wednesday for meditation, come together in our groups, come together as we turn within, knowing that that which is in each and every single one of us is that same thing that interconnects us all. And as we come together with all of this stuff going on, how can I talk about happy already? And so it made me think about a lot of stuff. You know, it made me think about, why is it so hard? You know, why is it so easy to stay rooted in judgment and fear and blame? Well, science says it's because we have a built-in negativity bias in our brains, that we are hardwired to assume danger at every turn. And this is something that goes millions of years back when, you know, a caveman was thinking, I'm gonna go out and get some food, I'm gonna go outside of the cave, but had to err on the side of caution, because if they didn't err on the side of caution and went out super confidently thinking there's no saber-toothed tiger outside of the cave, and went out and the saber-toothed tiger was there, boom, that's it, you're dead. Whereas if you err on the side of caution, you know, your body is gonna get all of these, you know, fight or flight hormones kind of bursting through the body to like make it be able to, you know, fight or flee, then it might just save your life. So it takes me back to this podcast that Glenn and I did a few months ago with Maria Namath, where she was talking about this, how we're constantly in survival mode. You know, like millions of years ago, we would have gone into survival mode, you know, maybe once or twice a day, because people would go hunting, you know, once or twice a day, or have to go out of the cave once or twice a day. But now we're being bombarded with so many different messages, so many different stimuli that are constantly sort of rewarding and activating that hardwiring, that negativity bias. It can be exhausting to live in this kind of state of fight or flight. It also can be very exciting, because every time we click onto the news, every time we talk to someone about, oh, did you hear what so-and-so did, or did you hear what happened? Every time we sort of dig into and immerse ourselves in that fear, whether we know that we're doing it or not, we get a hit of dopamine, and it actually feels good. So we go looking for another hit, you know, in a way that is so easy, which is to watch the news, to judge, to blame, to gossip, or to just be afraid. But that's not why we're here, right? Like, we're here to move past that. We are here because we know that every single one of us has it in us to move beyond that fear, to move beyond that judgment, to move beyond that blame, because ultimately we are each an expression of that one incredible, amazing, infinitely creative, expansive, energetic flow. Call it energy, call it God, call it spirit, call it universe, call it what works for you. Each and every one of us is that thing in its entirety. And we get to decide how we show up as that energy, how we show up as that spirit, how we show up as that infinite creativity in our life. So when I was thinking about the theme, Happy Already, I was thinking, how am I going to tie all of this in? And then I thought back to this podcast with Maria Namath, and how she said that there are 4 words that we can say that are the most important words that we could ever say. Nevertheless, I am willing. And when I heard that, I thought, okay, nevertheless, I am willing. So nevertheless to me means no matter what. And that's something that I use. It's a Dr. Tom Costa thing from, I think, CSL Palm Desert, which basically means, again, we are infinitely more powerful, creative, and resilient than anything we could ever think, believe, feel, or experience. We are that always, no matter what. Nevertheless, I am willing. Each of us has it in us to think a different thought, to speak a different word, to take a different action step, no matter how frightening it might be. And ultimately, we are not here to just survive. We are here to thrive. We are here to be the everything that Elizabeth was singing about in Faith Rivera's song. So I was thinking, and then when I was at the gym the other day, after my workout, I was putting on my sandals, putting my shoes into my little bag that I have for my gym shoes, and I got the inspiration for the talk today. And it made me happy. Or it wasn't that it made me happy, it activated the happiness in me that I already am. So here it is. Always hold on to the truth. Don't let others sway your heart. Don't compromise yourself for the sake of temporal grooviness. Be separate from the crowd that's awash with normality by standing on a firm foundation. Never waver in your love or faith, and in all you do, please wear my shoes. And that's the title of my talk today. Please wear my shoes. Now, I was looking for a bunch of pictures of many different kinds of shoes because there's so many different kinds of shoes that we wear throughout a lifetime, shoes that we don't wear but we see others wear. And ultimately, I took a picture of my favorite shoes. They are John Fluevog shoes, and he is the one who wrote this quote. Now, I know when he was writing the Please Wear My Shoes, that was also a bit of a call to action of, hey, buy my artistic creation, enjoy them, and wear my shoes. But for me, when I look at this entire statement, this manifesto, if you will, this is what I hear, okay, from a metaphysical point of view. Hold on to truth, okay? Truth is something that we talk about all the time. It is something that we study. It is something that we endeavor to lean into and allow to live and breathe us. But the fact is, the truth is changing all the time. So what is true for you may not be true for someone else. Yet, there are commonalities that I believe that we all want, that we all desire. We want to feel loved. We want to be treated with kindness and compassion. We want to feel connected. And we want to feel fulfilled, and we want to live a happy life. And so whatever that looks like for you, whatever that means for you, it is our responsibility, each of us, to hold onto that truth for ourselves. Because when we do, that truth, that amazing, love, kindness, compassion, connection, fulfillment, and happiness, it just trickles out to everyone and everything around, and we lift each other up. Don't let others sway your heart. This took me to Ernest Holmes. All thought is creative, according to the nature, impulse, emotion, or conviction behind the thought. And then back to Faith Rivera's song, be a leader, build community, be the prayer, living out the truth you seek. Never waver in your love or faith. Now, there was a talk that I did back in November when we were here in person on faith. And back then, I talked about how faith is the complete trust or confidence in someone or something, that it is a strong belief in God based on spiritual apprehension, rather than proof. It's a knowing. It's a knowing, it's an attitude, it's a state of being. It is also an acronym for fear ain't in this house, right? And then wear my shoes. Wear my shoes to me is not just John Fluevog saying, buy my shoes. Wear my shoes is saying, be who and what you are. Wear my shoes to me is like intuition or God or universe itself speaking, reminding us to be the infinite creativity, resilience, and love we already are. And that universal energy that is the essence, activity, and interconnectivity of everyone and everything, this is who we are meant to be. This is the everything. So I'm standing here today, not just because I was asked to speak today, but I'm standing here because I feel that it's important that if we continue to not listen to opposing views and surround ourselves with only like-minded people, we lose the opportunity to see from another's point of view, to question, to understand, to learn, to grow. And if we continue to stay stuck in the past or keep turning our attention outside of ourselves, judging and blaming or accusing someone else or something else for what is wrong in our life, then we will never be able to express compassion or forgiveness for others or for ourselves, and there will always be this us versus them or victim and perpetrator mentality. Ernest Holmes also says, we are immersed in the atmosphere of our own thinking, which is the direct result of all we have ever said, thought, or done. This decides what takes place in our lives. So, I believe that it is incumbent upon each of us to be willing to take responsibility for the reality we are creating, that our outer world is a reflection of our inner world, and that not only is everyone and everything a reflection of us and we of them, we are all eternally interconnected and divinely intertwined in, through, and as each other. We are each a unique original expression of energy, God, spirit, the infinite potentiality of the quantum field, and each of us is always, always choosing how we show up and what kind of life experience we create for ourselves and our world. So how about, instead of focusing on so much of what the news is saying, so much of what the media is offering, we shift our focus away, we shift our focus within. We shift our focus to nature. We shift our focus to what makes us feel good, what makes us feel empowered, what makes us feel alive. And that way we're maybe not so quick to see the splinter in someone else's eye when there's a log in our own. You know, maybe that way we hear what someone else is saying instead of always trying to be right. And this is something really, really important. It allows us to also challenge what our foundational life belief is, that one mother belief, the taproot of all beliefs, that is what you create your life from. And if it's not supporting you in living the most amazing, extravagant, opulent, fulfilling, loving, joyful life that you are meant to live, find a new belief. So when we go back to Faith Rivera's song, I invite us all to actively, mindfully, purposely, no matter what, be willing to be a neighbor, see a friend in all you meet, be a leader, build community, be a prayer living out of the truth you seek, be everything, be. And really listen as universe, through John Fluevog, reminds us to stand on a firm foundation, never waver in your love or faith, and in all you do, please wear my shoes.